Hello everyone, and welcome to a Murderous Symphony. Thank you for joining us for an evening of Dungeons & Dragons. I'm Josh, and I'll be your Dungeon Master tonight. We're thrilled to be streaming at twitch.tv/rolltogetherrpg. A Murderous Symphony takes place in Neverwinter, roughly 2 to 3 weeks after the events of At Death's Door and Caesar's Defiance. The bloat has been slowly disappearing. However, there have been reports of people throughout the city going missing. Our players have been hired as private investigators to look into a group of murders that have taken place in the Blue Lake Theatre. Now, let's meet the players, followed by a few words from our sponsors.
Hi, I'm Niall, and I'm playing Amun-ra, a far traveller from the far reaches of Zakara, come to Neverwinter hunting vampires, but maybe he has deep-seated issues himself. Maybe those things will probably come into play during this horror session we've got going on. But who knows? We'll see. Boogity boogity.
Hi, I'm Scarlett. I'll be playing Mizana from Azana's Emporium of Glorious Goods and Trade. I'm the half-elf artificer that loves to investigate and tinker. Also rides on a giant beetle.
Hi, I'm G, and I am going to be playing Rion. Rion is a pickpocket, changeling, street urchin, youngster that has grown up on the streets of Neverwinter, and currently their friend Mask has gone missing. There's a bunch of murders happening in the city, and they want to find a friend. So they're going to investigate.
Hi, I'm Sean, and I will be playing Rhododendron, or Rhodey for short. Rhododendron was last seen running for his life at the end of Isradel, the roving house. But what has he been up to since then? Well, he's set up shop in Neverwinter with Mizana, and has just been kind of playing it a bit easy, like not really taking too many adventuring jobs, trying to play it safe. However, something about this one piqued his interest, so we'll see where that leads him.
Hi, I'm Nat. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm going to be playing Ak, who uses they, them pronouns. Ak is a knowledge cleric, Kenku, and they work at the Temple of Ogmar in Neverwinter under the watchful gaze of Dr. Agatha Whipplestitch, who is the mortician there, who's been taking a lot of interest in a lot of the dead bodies that have been happening in Neverwinter over the last couple of months. Who can tell why there's been loads of dead bodies? Sean can. Watch his previous campaigns. Ak has a curious mind and is excited to be given the responsibility to go out and do some investigating.
And I think with all of that, it's time to begin. Our adventure begins within the city of Neverwinter. A few weeks have passed since a strange rain, that caused people to become sick and even mutate into aberrations affected parts of the city. Netherwintians, because that's a word, have begun to notice the bloat has started to dissipate, and a lot of the people have put this down to the amazing work that the Abail have done since they've been here. There have also been rumours of a large explosion or implosion of sorts that has happened in the Neverwinter woods, but nobody is 100% sure because nobody's brave enough to go and check what's actually happened. However, putting all that aside, our adventure starts like any classic D&D adventure, and you can all groan as much as you want. It starts in a tavern.
Woo!
Hey!
Not just any tavern. The Sleeping Dragon Tavern, to be exact. The sound of patrons enjoying themselves can be heard from the streets around, and as we enter into the tavern itself, we get a very strong smell of the various drinks and foods that are located within this establishment. In one of the corners, sitting in a booth, are two figures. The first is a well-known figure, Melnor Sinclair, a human in their late 30s, early 40s, with shoulder-length red hair tied up in a bun, and they're wearing a black shirt and black trousers with a red waistcoat. Melnor is known as a handler, who is someone that gathers information in and around Neverwinter and gets quests and gives them out to adventurers for a small profit, because Lord Neverember does not allow guilds within the city itself, so somebody needs to do something to earn a bit of money. Sitting next to them is a figure that Melnor themselves are quite familiar with. G, could you introduce your character, please?
Sure. So sitting next to them is Rion, who at this point looks like maybe a 13 or 14-year-old elf. Quite kind of skinny and malnourished male. And just sort of dressed in quite ragged, like quite a ragged top. It's very loose and baggy. It's got sort of patches on it. In particular, there's one red patch on the left arm, but in a kind of quite inconspicuous way, as though it's very much. It looks like it's just a patch to repair a hole, but it is more of a signifier than that, which we're not going to give away anymore at the moment. But yeah, so yes, young skinny dark elf, not dark elf, young skinny elf with dark hair, I should say.
And as you're both sitting there, the booth itself looks very empty because you're the only two there. Melnor leans forward with their arms, with their elbows on the table, hands very similar to how I'm doing it now, podcast listeners. My fingers are interlinked with various different rings on their fingers, and they just look over to you and say, "Are you excited to go on your first adventure?"
Oh yeah. I'd really like to find Mask. I'm quite worried about her,
Yes, Mask and Shadows has been missing for quite a while now. The rest of the group have not been the same since she went missing. Hopefully, this investigation will turn up some leads for yourselves and also for the people that you'll be working with. I put the utmost trust in all of them who are taking part, so you have nothing to worry about, okay?
Thanks, I appreciate your help with this, I really do.
Anything for my little vagabonds. And at that point, the door to the tavern opens and three figures walk in. The first is an elderly female gnome, walking with a cane. Her grey and brown hair is plaited and pulled back into a bun, very similar to how Melnor's is, but she's wearing robes that are of the Temple of Ogmar, or the House of Knowledge as it's known in Neverwinter. The gnome instantly notices Melnor sitting over in the corner and gestures to her two companions to follow her. The first is Nat. Could you introduce your character, please?
Yes, standing tall behind the elderly gnome lady is Ak. Also dressed in the flowing dark robes of the Temple of Ogmar. A very sort of slightly twitchy, prim-looking Kenku. Their robes are a little bit scrappy. Like, they look like they've been torn and frayed over the years and meticulously and carefully sewn and patched up, much like Rion's clothes, I suppose. But it looks like rather than being allowed the money to purchase new robes, they've just refixed these ones, and they don't have access to a mending cantrip, clearly. Or maybe they've spent their pocket money on other things. But they will follow the elderly gnome's lead.
And following close behind the pair of you, Niall, could you please introduce your character?
Amun stands around about like 5'10", 5'11", hard to tell with his boots on. He wears knee-high boots and quite baggy pants with a leather brace, like belt bracer, with like different bags attached to it, probably because he's been traveling for a long time. He wears like a white linen shirt and a nice vest, and on one arm he has a bracer of the same red and a lot of different symbologies of like the sun on it. That's also marked out on his vest in sort of like stitches. And then on the other arm is bandaged up with not clean bandages. They're quite dirty. They've been rough and ready and worn. And then on top of his shoulders, currently down, is a lovely cloak of bright blue with wonderful gold patterns on. He's dark skinned, but not. He's more my complexion, basically, with very short hair, short back and sides, cut to his skin so that nothing can grab onto his hair, but he can have a little bit of a play with it when he's bored. And he has
words shaved into it.
No Elvish. He does have faint scars that litter his body, and what skin there is on show is usually just a little bit sort of faint, with little lines of, I don't know, being thrown in a bush or being thrown off a cliff or whatever he's got himself into. That's Amun.
And as the three of you approach the table and take your seats, Melnor, still leaning forward, will gesture towards the elderly gnome. Dr. Whipplestitch, it's good to see you. I see you've brought some compatriots with you. Let me get you some drinks. And she waves, they wave their hand, and a member of the waiting staff comes over with a bunch of pre-made drinks. They're non-alcoholic, and they push them onto the table and give them to the three of you. And Dr. Whipplestitch, the elderly gnome, will sit up the table and will look over to Melnor with her cane down on the floor and will go, "Yes, dear, yes. I have brought these two whippersnappers with me because they will be taking my place in this investigation. Don't worry. Ak has been training under me for many, many moons, and they are just as good as I am." And Melnor will gesture towards Ak with a nod and just look you up and down. Okay, that's fine. Right, okay, so still waiting for a few more people. 2 more, I believe. I don't quite know where they are, and as they go on to say that, the door opens again and everybody takes a look and then has to look down. Sean, could you introduce your character, please?
Yeah, of course. So I am playing, and here's where I have to read my own notes. Rhododendron, Jinzik, Butterscotch, Scaramouche, Montgomery Dax. Rhododendron is a gnome about 2.5 foot tall. Generally wears like a knee-length red coat with a waistcoat and kind of corduroy trousers underneath, and is also wearing a metallic-looking apparatus on the back, which is quite neatly tucked and folded away at the moment. He's got gingerish receding hair and a big old conch.
And as you step through the door, Melnor, the rest of you will see that Melnor has a brief look of surprise on their face, and they stand up from the table and they go, "Oh, Roddy, over here. Come on, over here. Excellent. I wasn't expecting to see you."
Oh, thank you very much. Oh, well, it's nice to get out of the workshop every now and then, isn't it?
It is, yes. I've sent you many job requests over the past few weeks, few months, few years even, and this is the first one you've actually accepted. I'm very pleased to see you.
Oh, well, you've got to get out. You get cabin fever, don't you, if you stay in too long? I think it's been probably about 5 years now. Well, it's fine.
Okay, good. Right, so that means, just waiting on one more person. Hopefully they shouldn't be too long. I have heard they tend to arrive quite late to these things. I haven't got quite used to the streets of Neverwinter yet, from what I hear. And as you all settle in, you can hear a small commotion come from outside. The sounds of what sounds like tires or a tire skidding on tarmac, and then a small crash bash noise outside. And almost stumbling through the door is Scarlett. Could you introduce your character, please?
Yep, I'm playing Mizana. You see a lot of brown leathers and a lot of pouches, a lot of tools hanging. The clothes are a mixture of work clothes and a little couple of patches of nice fabric, but not a lot. Most of it's covered in grease and yeah. a lot of crazy curly brown hair and a lot of cogs and stuff.
As Miss Anna stumbles through the door, you hear the creaks and clockwork sounds of this strange creature that sort of flies up behind and lands on her shoulder, a mechanical pseudo-dragon as it is. It sort of wraps its tail around one of the sort of lassos of maybe an apron or something that you're wearing and just nestles into the mass of hair that you have on your head. Melnor will stand up and will gesture you over as well, and they will then gesture for one of the waiting staff to bring some more drinks over for those who don't have any drinks. And as everybody sits down, they will lean forward with their hands interlinked again and go, right. So, I believe that all of you are at least a little bit acquainted with each other to some degree. For those of you who are not, this fine person sat next to me is Rion. They will be joining you on your adventure. Rion, would you like to introduce yourself to the group?
Hi there, everyone. I guess first thing is I'm not quite as young as I look. Me and some of my colleagues, we discovered this murder had taken place in the theatre. And, one of my friends has gone missing. So, I'm keen to find out what happened. And look, thanks for your help in advance, I suppose.
Fantastic, yes. And going on straight onto the mission at hand, as Rion has said, there is a murder or a group of murders that have happened in the Blue Lake District. Now, for those of you who are not familiar, the Blue Lake District is separate in terms of its following of Lord Hinderas. Sorry. They look over. Sorry, Lord Neverember. They don't follow any laws or anything that the Lord himself has in place, so they're almost separate from the rest of the city. The Blue Lake District is it's like a territory type war going on between various different groups. Just think of the Nashes, the Dead Rats, those types. They fight over various parts of territory, although they all have a mutual agreement that certain areas of the Blue Lake District itself are considered neutral grounds where no fighting will take place, allows for people to become profitable in their own regard. And the Blue Lake Theatre, where these murders take place, is one said place. Now, as I said, there are rumoured to have been 3 people that have been murdered within the theatre itself. This happened last night. Groups of members from the Nashes and the Dead Rats have retained some of the staff that work there in order for them to be questioned, but both groups and other groups that are part of the Blue Lake District have refused to go into the theatre itself as to not break any of these rules that they've put into place themselves. This is why they've hired a group of private investigators, and thanks to Rion and his little group of miscreants, I was able to get this job first, which is why I am presenting it to all of you now. Now, of course, if any of you have any questions that you'd like me to answer, I am more than happy to do so. But please, feel free. The table is yours, as it were. And they tap on the table.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
This is not alcoholic, is it?
All the drinks provided are non-alcoholic, yes.
Give me 1 second. Amun will get up, take his drink, go to the bar, order an alcoholic drink, come back with it and sit back down.
Each to their own tastes, yes?
Sorry, now we can start.
Okay. Was there any other questions?
Oh, I've got a question, actually. Zana, who's manning the shop?
Excuse me one moment, everyone. I thought we sorted that out before we left.
Well, I thought it was your day.
No, I'm sure that was. I'm sure it was your day.
So I'll message someone. You'll be right.
All right. Sorry, everybody. Beg your pardon.
And Ak has just been, throughout this entire conversation, has sort of acquired a straw from the bar and is sort of awkwardly trying to, in their beak, trying to like drink like sideways, just trying to get a proper drink. It doesn't quite work, but yeah.
So does nobody have any questions about the job in particular for me?
Oh, right. Oh, no, please.
Oh,
No, after you, Mizana.
These murders last night, is it new? Do we have documentation on it? Like, she gets out a folder full of pictures of missing people and any details that she's had from it. Is it new? What kind of details? What, where, how? Do we know anything?
Unfortunately not. As it is a neutral territory for the groups there, none of them have actually been inside to process the scene itself. So when you arrive, you will find the bodies will still be there. They have not been taken out yet until they are given the go-ahead by yourselves. The bodies will not be removed until that moment. As far as we are aware, there are 3 victims involved. That is all that we are aware of at the moment. We have no positive identification on them at present.
And to clarify, excuse me if this seems insensitive, was it Faerun? Your friend that is missing, we do not believe that they are amongst the bodies.
I hope not. I don't think so. We'll probably look at Melnor for confirmation of that.
As far as I'm aware, there have not been any confirmations of who has died there, I'm afraid. Unfortunately, you will not know until you get there yourselves.
Well, then we best get there. And Amun will just down his drink, set it down, stand up and be like, shall we go?
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I suppose so.
I kind of take my presumably shot glass, which is actually a beaker to me, and just what? Try to do the same. Probably get a fair amount of it down myself. Prestidigitate myself dry.
Melnor will. Don't worry. I was going to say we could get you travel cups if you'd like, but if you'd like to down
please.
it. Oh yes. They'll click their hands and somebody will come over with some travel mugs and you can pour your drinks into those and take those with you. They're not hot drinks, so they're just basic, almost like cardboard type, the types that you get from Costa or something, like those types of travel mugs that you can take with you.
On you go.
Sorry. Well, before we leave, we'll sort of sidle to Dr. Whipplestitch. Doctor, I just wanted to double check. Was there anything particular you think I should be looking out for? I'm very grateful for the opportunity that you've given me to go out on my own to do this, but any last tips?
And she'll look towards you and put a hand on your shoulder and give it a very soft squeeze. Do what I've taught you. Make sure you examine the bodies themselves to make sure you understand what has caused them to die. See if there are patterns of arterial spray or anything like that, and try and find some evidence on who the killers might be. Just be confident in your skills. You are very good. Okay, and I will be at the temple waiting for you when you return. I will send some of the other clerics up to the district to retrieve the bodies, and they will take the bodies out when you are finished. Just so that these groups don't have to enter and break any treaties or anything that they have.
Duly noted. I shall ensure that they manage to do that.
Yes. Okay. Fantastic. And looks up towards Armin. Please look after her. She's very important to me.
I am honor bound. It is fine. I will make sure that Dak is fine. They will be completely safe.
Yes. I meant they. Sorry. And Dr. Whipplestitch will stay sat down as you all get up, and she moves closer towards Melnor and almost taps her glass up against Melnor's. Oh yes, I think we have some catching up to do, don't we? And they begin having a conversation. It is up to you what you all wish to do now. You can stay and talk some more, or you can begin making tracks.
I was going to say, while Ack was talking to, Whipplestitch? Whipplestitch. I would turn to Melnor and just say, is anyone paying you for this one? Or is this just like as an handler? Or is this just for us?
Ah, yes. I should have said that beforehand, shouldn't I? Yes, there is a fee, or you will all be paid 150 gold for this particular job. This is after my cut, of course. But yes, it's a very lucrative opportunity for all of us. Both of the Nashers and the Dead Rats, I believe, have both chipped in to pay this. So yes, it's going to be very good for all of us, I think.
Miss Xana, do you have 150 gold's worth of trinkets and broken bits in your shop that I could purchase after this?
Of course, darling. You're always welcome to peruse my wares. You know that.
Excellent. I look forward to it.
Of course.
And if there's nothing else, you are all able to leave the Sleeping Dragon Tavern and begin making your way towards the...
when we get outside the door, Rion would just kind of over his shoulder look at everybody and just go, all right then, follow me. Because Rion, as an urchin, has a feature called City Secrets, which means I can get places through the city twice as fast as normal.
Okay, that's definitely going to cut time down. And as you all exit the tavern, the first thing that you see, sort of laying in a bunch of broken crates and barrels, is a rather large mechanical beetle of some sort that, as soon as Miss Xana exits the tavern, gets up and begins almost waddling its way over towards her and nestling up.
Hi, Beatty. Does anyone want to ride with me? There's plenty of space.
Oh,
yes,
Ah, hop on.
So the beetle itself rolls up into a large ball, and you can see that there is a saddle that is attached to it. And as it moves around, the saddle itself doesn't move, but there's enough space for 3 of you to get on, 4 if you're of a smaller category.
I will not be upset if you want to get on the beetle. It is very cool. I will walk. It is fine.
I think Rion has already climbed on top at this point.
Rhodey is going to just kind of looks up at
No, today's not the day. I'll walk.
We're super close, though. I saw it in your eye.
Tomorrow.
All right, tomorrow.
Are you
that
sure?
Beatty?
I can make room. I'm actually now. Would Amun go by amun-ra exclusively, or like would
Just
Sarah
Amun.
Ra?
Yeah, Ra's his last name as far as he's concerned, so you just call him like Amun. It's totally fine.
Ak would give the honorific. So would just turn and say, Sarah Ra, if you've not had a chance to ride upon the Miss Xana's beetle, then please do. We'll hop off. You want to experience it? No. I've encountered this before, so you should have a try.
Okay. And I'll saddle on and then be like, okay, so this thing, I just hold on to what now?
Well, you can either hold on to me, or there's little handles on the side.
Okay, I'll take one handle and one on your back.
All right. It's not that bumpy, I promise.
As Miss Xana says that, the beetle moves, and it's almost like one of those quick jolt propulsion type things where it just jolts forward very quickly. Those of you who are riding get knocked back a little bit, but then you instantly stabilize and begin rolling along the pavement, you do see there are quite a few people in the street who are giving very curious looks towards the mechanical beetle riding people. And those of you who are choosing to walk can walk very casually behind. The beetle doesn't speed off at 30 miles an hour or anything like that. It, keeps pace with those who are walking. It's just a nice leisurely stroll towards the Blue the Blue Lake District.
Could I be making perception checks the whole way there?
You can certainly make a perception check if you'd like, yeah?
Yeah, just trying to keep sort of like learning my surroundings, seeing if there's anything out of place, seeing if there's anyone watching me, that kind of thing.
Okay, yeah. Rion, you can also make a perception check. In fact, all of you can make perception checks if you'd like to.
I mean, perception's not my greatest skill, I'm going to be honest. 12.
That is a dirty 20 for me.
17.
I got an 18.
Awesome. And sorry, Ak, what did you roll?
24.
24. Wow. Okay. Sorry, I have a gnat in my room. Not an act. I have a gnat. It's an act. Anyway. So, Rion, as the lowest roll, you have a little look around as you're traveling on the Beetle, and you do manage to spot just one person just in the side of an alleyway, not paying any attention to you yourself, but they're sat down on the floor with possibly what looks to be like a blanket or a sleeping bag or something over them, and they do have a very similar red patch on their right arm. The rest of you would not notice this because they're not doing anything that would stand out to you in particular. It's just something for Rion. For Ak, you notice that there are a lot of injured people, a lot of people who are coughing and splurting, and they are making their way towards various different temples that are located within. You know that some of them are making their way down towards your own temple. Since the temple of Kellenvor is currently closed, a lot of the sick and injured and dying that would go to that temple have begun spreading out to other temples in the city, and there's been a bit of an overload at some of these temples. So you notice a lot of those. For Amun, you notice that there's a lot of guard presence around, especially outside the tavern. And all of you would know that since this strange rain that has peppered parts of the city, there has been a slight increase in the Neverwinter Guard in the other areas of the city itself. And for Miss Zana, you're mainly focused on driving, so you're able to dodge and evade any potholes or anything to make the ride as smooth as possible for everybody else. And your little pseudo-dragon friend stays sat firmly on your shoulders, probably digging their claws into the loose fabric parts of your armor to make sure it doesn't go flying off when every now and then when your beetle decides to jump forward. And as you make your way around the Neverwinter Castle, because you need to go past the Neverwinter Castle in order to get to the gates that lead into the Blue Lake District, you can see that it's very derelict. It looks very derelict. You're not 100% sure if there's anybody who's living in it at the moment because of things that have happened since the ruining of Neverwinter. But anyway, we gloss past that for the moment. That could be a story for another time, perhaps. Mm-hmm. You approach the gates that lead into the Blue Lake District. And as you get closer, you can see that there are a group of Neverwinter guards who are on this side of the gate, who are speaking to people who are trying to come and go between the district itself. You can see that they are questioning people, they're checking bags, any weapons or anything they find, they're confiscating and putting to one side. Any weapons or anything that people are trying to take into the district, they seem to be allowing. We'll go off of that with everybody's perception checks. And as you all approach, you are approached by, I said approached quite a lot, I apologize, but a guard comes up to you. What is your business in the Blue Lake District?
The murder, mostly. We're not doing the murder. We're looking into the murder. Oh dear.
We have been sent by one Sir Melnor Sinclair to investigate the incidents at the theatre.
At the theatre. Okay, yeah, right. Yes, it looks you all up and down. Right, yeah, right. Off you go. Yes, please enter in. We won't take any weapons or anything off of you or any details. Yes, please go through. And you are allowed to enter into the district. Does anybody happen to have a passive perception over 15?
I do have a question.
Yes.
But do you want to do your passive perception thing? And then I don't have a passive perception over 15. Mine's only 14.
Is your question directed at one of the guards?
Yeah.
Yep, you can ask that question first.
I'm sorry. You've not been taking details of anybody or weapons of anybody who's been coming in and out of this area?
Yes, we have. It's just with the particular line of work that you have said that you are doing, we're not going to take your details. We don't tend to take details for people who go out of the district into the Blue Lake district, but those who are coming in, we will take their details, just in case.
But if we were coming back out, you wouldn't need our details, would you?
No, we won't need your details now. You have said what you are doing?
Yes. So anybody who was saying what they were doing, you wouldn't take their details?
No. We are very loosey-goosey with our rules here.
I can tell.
Yes.
Just sort of turns away, just shaking his head.
Is that not? Does that imply that when we are to return to this side of the gates, we would have to leave you our details?
No. We will remember your faces. You will be able to pass. To be honest with you, I won't be on duty when you probably come back through. I finish in about 10 minutes, so whatever the next guard group decide to do is up to them. I just want to do my 9 to 5 and go home. If I'm honest.
You're a very good guard.
Thank you. I'm very proud of the work I do.
Yes, you should be. It suits you perfectly.
Thank you. Off you go. And as you begin to pass through, with a passive perception over 15 for Ak, you will hear said guard that you've just spoken to approach a small cluster of other guards, and you can hear a very worried conversation between him and them. You get the gist of, oh Lord, I hope that this murder doesn't spark an all-out war in the Blue Lake District, because Lord Neverwinter will send us into fight, and I really don't want to do that. It's the gist of what you get.
I love this guard.
I will somewhat tactlessly sort of pause, turn around and say, do not worry, we are... Dr. Whipplestitch says that you are very talented, Ak. You have all the skills you need, and we will solve it for you, and then you will not have to fight.
He gives you a very, huh? For one, because you heard what he was saying, because it was almost like a whisper, and he just waves and goes, okay.
I waved to her and I said, don't worry, guard. You won't have to do any more work than you're already failing to do.
You say that as you have to turn around and wave towards him as you roll through the gate. They paid no attention to the beetle, by the way.
Why would they?
Why would they?
Very inconspicuous.
Must have passed through this way anyway.
Yeah. So you enter into the Blue Lake District, and the first thing you notice is it is completely different to the rest of Neverwinter, or the areas that you've been to, at least. The streets themselves aren't clean. There are weeds that are growing up through various bits of concrete and stonework. There's rubbish that's littering the streets. The buildings have got very deep cracks in them, probably since the ruining, that haven't been repaired. Whereas you would know that other parts of those of you who've been here long enough would know that when the ruining happened, there was a lot of reconstruction that happened around the city. But it doesn't look like the money's been invested into this particular district. In terms of people that you see around, it's exactly the same as the rest of Neverwinter. The only difference is there is no guard presence at all. What you see instead is a mixture of, I don't want to say bandit-looking people, but bandit-looking people wearing mismatched parts of armor with various different symbols for the groups that they're a part of. The most prominent one that you see is the symbol for the Nashers. There's some other smaller groups that you can see. You don't see any dead rat symbols or anything like that around. But you're able to move your way through the streets. Rion, you would probably be the most knowledgeable about locations within Neverwinter, especially going through alleyways and streets and everything to get to places that you need to get to. So you are able to lead the group quite quickly towards the Blue Lake Theatre, which is pretty much in the heart of this district itself. And as you approach, you can see that there is a bit of a commotion going on outside. There are a number of different figures. Some of them are rat-like in appearance, so you would know these to be dead rats. Others are wearing similar armor that you've seen as you've come through the district, representing that they are Nashers. And you do see what looks to be a large bee-like person who is sort of standing in between two rat person and a strawberry blonde human person wearing a Nasher uniform. This Abale, it has got their forearms. The two lower arms are behind their back. The other two are in front of them, writing down on a piece of paper. They have a monocle, a rather large monocle, over one of the eyes, and they've got like a waistcoat tuxedo type thing on their top half. And they seem to be taking notes as these two figures are conversing and almost shouting at each other. And as you all get closer, the strawberry blonde-haired person turns around with like a swish of their hair and takes off the sunglasses that they have on their face. And as you approach, all right, name's H. Are you lot the ones that Melnor has sent? You look pretty capable. You got a cleric to one of them ERB gods there.
Ogmar,
that's the one. Yeah, right. Well, I don't care for symbols myself, but you here to investigate these murders?
You're wearing the symbol of the dead, the Nashers. Never mind. Yes, we are.
Yeah, I'm not holy, but yeah, right. We've kept some of the staff members who have stayed overnight, just so you can question them if you need to about what happened. I personally don't know what happened. I was called here early hours of this morning. Bloody woke me up, stupid people killing each other in the neutral zone. But yeah, if you have any questions for them, you can. If you want to go inside and investigate, you can. And one of the rat person who's there walks across and goes, hey, excuse me, don't be telling them what they can and can't do without talking to me first. I might want to talk to them before they go in. Sorry about that. And they almost pull forward like a waistcoat type thing that they're wearing, that they're clearly not wearing. It's like an apron. The name's Din. I am Din of the Dead Rats. Pleasure to meet all of you. Yes, what he said. You can do exactly what he said.
Thank you.
Right. Yes. And the large Abale will look to all of you, nod, close their book. They don't say anything. They just turn around and fly off.
Shall we, then?
Yeah, let's go and have a look.
Sorry, I didn't get your name. To the strawberry blonde person.
The name is H. It's short for Horatio.
Thank you, Horatio, for a warm welcome.
Yeah, it's all right. Now go and solve these murders. And he sticks his glasses back on in a very CSI moment, and then turns around and walks over to his group, and they begin conversing over what's happened. And Din just stands there, his tail sort of wrapped around his feet, just tapping on the floor, and he's just looking at all of you with seemingly a big grin on his face. You gonna go in then?
Yes. Unless you have something more you wish to share with us.
Looks over towards where the Nashers are and is going to roll a dice. Bear with me in a memento. go into their armor and pull out something, and they go, if you don't mind sticking this on one of the bodies, that'd be fantastic. And as they go to hand that over to you, Amun, Horatio walks straight over and goes, excuse me, don't you even think about giving them some sort of evidence to plant on their body so you can start some sort of turf war? And he just runs off. The rat folk runs off.
What on earth?
Very unprofessional.
It's very unprofessional. Yeah, the dead rats are trying to sort of push in on more territory, trying to get into the neutral area and sort of take that over. Look, right, you didn't hear this from me, all right, but the dead rats have had a bit of a problem lately. One of their dens they've lost contact with it. I don't know quite near where it is. Apparently it's somewhere near the chasm or something, and they're a bit out of sorts because they've lost a large amount of territory as it was in the underground areas. So they're trying to encroach on our space, and they think if they start some sort of a turf war, they can take what they want, and we ain't having it.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, I'm sure we can come back to that later. Thank you for your wonderful greeting.
Right, yeah.
Is the door big enough for Beatty to come in?
Yep, door is plenty big enough for your beetle friend to come in. Probably not big enough for you to... No, it would be big enough for you to ride on in, because it would be large enough for Goliaths to go in, and Loxodons and everything. So yes, you could potentially ride them in. There is a lot of steps to get up there.
I will get down if that is okay.
Are you sure? You don't have to.
No, it's fine. It's been wonderful. The bee is one, and I like slowly getting down.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
You've been on a treadmill for too long, and you get that weird feeling because you've been walking forwards for so long, and I feel like I'm walking with them now.
I'm glad you enjoyed. Anytime you want to come up, you just let me know.
I will.
Beans.
So, as you enter into the theatre itself, you can see that there are a group of staff members who are just to the left where the sort of like ticket booth area would be, and they're sat there, and there are two Nashes sort of stood there, keeping them in place sort of thing. You can see that they've got plenty of food and drink and stuff, and at one point one of them will say, I need the toilet, please, and one of the Nashes will escort them to the toilet and then bring them back. What would you all like to do? I'm going to leave this open for you. Would you like to discuss anything? Is there anybody you want to talk to in particular, or do you just want to go straight to the bodies?
I would probably be heading straight to the bodies, apart from anything to confirm whether Rion recognizes any of them, but also to see what happened.
I think, Rion would make a beeline for the bodies to check if any of them are mask and shadows.
Shall we maybe split up then? Or shall we all go to see the corpses? Or should some of us go to talk to the witnesses?
Go take some notes from the witnesses.
All right.
Go speak to the living, and we'll go speak to the dead.
I'll join you on dead duty.
Then I will join you on living duty.
Okay, so those of you who are going to speak to those who are living, you approach, and they all look like they are probably under the age of 20. One of them sort of stands out amongst the rest because they are a halfling wearing a very red concierge type clothing with a nice little buttoned waistcoat, and they have quite a few spots around their face. Probably look like they're probably about 17 or 18 years old. The two guards will part in order for you to approach them and speak to them, and the little halfling boy goes, all right, can I go home yet? I'm tired.
I'm so sorry you're tired. How long have you been here today?
I started my shift at 7 o'clock last night, and it's whatever the time is now. My clock stopped working.
Oh, would you like me to fix it for you?
Yeah, sure.
Instantly starts tinkering. Okay.
It
Won't take long.
doesn't take much. You just twist a couple of cogs and it starts ticking around again. Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
Are you the ones? And he's constantly rubbing his eye. Are you the ones who are here to question us?
That's right. Me and my friend here.
Oh, hi. My name's Herbert.
Hi, Herbert. What a lovely name.
Well, thank you. A lot of people take the mickey out of me for that, but Herbert Fitzgerald.
That's a beautiful name.
Yeah, very nice. Yes. Sorry, I've got something in my eye. Right. What is it you want to know? What sort of questions do you want to ask?
I know it's a little sensitive, but who came across the bodies first? Was it you?
It was everyone. It happened in the middle of a performance. Just some person just stood up and started attacking people, and unfortunately, two people got really hurt.
Right.
They haven't moved, so I don't know if they're all right or if they need treatment or anything.
Don't you worry, we'll sort that out. So it wasn't part of the performance? It was just some rando in the audience, or what was it?
No, it was somebody from what I saw, because I see my job is I'm one of the lighting people, so I stand up in the rafter area and I hold the lights and I point them down on the people who are performing, and so I got like a proper bird's eye view. I really did. And these people, they were sitting, probably 4 rows from the back, and they were sitting there, they were laughing, they were joking, quite happy people. And then somebody about 3 rows in front just stood up and just lunged at them. It was weird because they lunged over all of the other people that were in between them and just went for them. And then everybody started screaming and running out, and I almost fell from my perch because I didn't know what to do.
Must have been quite a scene. I'm so sorry you saw that.
Well, thank you. It was quite horrifying. That's the first time somebody's actually asked how I'm feeling.
Oh, darling, how are you feeling? Are you all right? Do you need to sit down?
I'm already sitting down.
Okay, do you need to
Am
lay
I?
down? If you're too stressed out, you can lay down and talk to me there.
Actually, that sounds quite nice. He just lays on the floor. The other people, the other employees are looking at him like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Can I just because I hunt vampires, quite a common thing for vampires to do is to charm people. And I guess I'm kind of used to figuring out when that's happened to someone. So can I just watch, just throughout this whole time I've been watching Herbert and all his mates, just to see if there's anything a little bit sus. Like an insight check.
Yeah, you can make me an insight check for that, yeah. I would give you advantage on that because you are particularly honing in on vampirific charms.
I mean, I got a natural 20 on my first roll.
Okay.
For a 24.
Okay.
Go for the double.
Let's see. No, it was a 14.
Oh, if that was another natural 20, that would just be the campaign over. You would have sold everything.
He's the murderer. That boy there.
It was Herbert in the office with the wrench. So, he just lays on the floor. Yeah, all right. So he murdered him. Murdered them. There was a big hooded figure. There was a group of them. There was how many were there? How many were there, Gerald? And one of the other people steps forward and goes, I think there was 5 hooded figures. Oh, right. Yeah, well, they weren't all sitting together, were they? No, they weren't.
So people all over the audience all popped up and jumped on those particular people?
No, it was just the one hooded figure. But there were other hooded figures that came in. They all came in together.
Right.
Can I set up yet?
Only if you want to, darling.
Yep, set up.
All right, there you go.
For Amun, watching this, you can tell that there is definitely, you're not sure if it's vampire in nature, but there is definitely some sort of mind compulsion that's been put on this particular person. And even the other staff members that are sort of sitting around them, they're all almost following what Herbert is doing, but in very subtle ways. So when Herbert sits down, they all begin to sit down themselves, but at different intervals. So they don't just, it's not like they instantly do it together. And when as Herbert sits back up from laying down, you'll watch two of the other ones will begin laying down as well. And the others begin to get into a position to start to lay down.
And how many of them are in total?
There's 5 in total.
Right. Cool. So, I have a question.
Yes?
The 4 hooded figures, what kind of hoods were they wearing?
Black ones.
Oh, you have something in your eye, but
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. I'll get to it. It's really, and you can see that as he begins scraping, see that it begins to get red, and it's almost like his nails aren't exactly trimmed, and he begins sort of like to pull skin off from his nose and around his eyelid.
yeah. Are the others copying him as well?
You do see that a few of them begin to start itching, but not all. But it's not in unison.
Yeah, it's just slowly. So, what kind of hoods were they?
They were black hoods. They were quite. They had that strange point to them, so they were like pulled right down. You couldn't see their facial features that much, and they were nice and big, and they were able to sort of cover up everything on them, so you couldn't see anything.
And where were you? And I'll point to a different staff member. Where were you?
So this staff member that you point at is a female dwarf. I was doing the tickets. I was in there. I was in the booth right there, and they came in and they ordered four tickets. I gave them the tickets. When I said, "What seating arrangement did you want?" and she spins around a large, almost like abacus type contraption, but it's like seating arrangements on it, and you can spin the seating arrangement round to say, I want this spot, I want that spot. So red indicates that the spot's taken, blue indicates that it's free, and you can see that they were all spun round to red, probably except for 5 or 6 seats. So it was almost a full house for last night's performance. And for some reason they all didn't want to sit together. They all took different seats.
Where were you? And I'll point to a different one.
The other one goes, I was behind the bar. You see, there's a bar area over there, and we serve drinks during the intervals of these performances because some of them are bloody long. You get 3.5 hour performances. Some people's asses going on.
And where are you? Next one.
This would be the last one, and this one goes. You can see he's got like some food stains on his uniform. I'm the person that goes around with the ice creams and the biscuits during the breaks and stuff. So anybody who doesn't want to get up and go to the toilet and stuff, I'll sort of go around and sell stuff in between the stalls and things.
Is there not one more? There's Herbert, the dwarf, the one who's at the bar, the one who sells ice creams and snacks. Isn't there one more? There's 5 in
Yes, there is one more. There is one more. This person is the largest and sort of sat at the back with their knee curled up with their knees, sort of doing all the different positions and rubbing the eyes and stuff. A Goliath, wearing a uniform that is probably 3 times too small for them. Yes, I'm the person that stands on the door on the inside once everything has begun, just so it doesn't ruin the ambience. And at this point, he starts rubbing his eye.
Okay, I just need you all to stay here for maybe another hour or so.
Oh no, God, is you get that come from all of them.
You do know people have been murdered, right?
And Herbert just burst out crying because he didn't know that.
Nice. Well, let's take this more seriously. And then I'll say, Miss Sana.
And as you say, let's take this more seriously, Herbert instantly stops. You can see there's still tears coming down his face, but he just instantly goes really serious. And the others begin get serious facial expressions on their faces,
Herbert,
one at a time.
can you react how
Yes.
you feel on the inside?
And you just watch as his face just scrunches up, and basically, like he was a second ago, he just starts bawling out crying,
Okay, now stop crying.
and he just stops. You see
I
the
love the
others,
miss-
their faces begin to scrunch up, and then they stop.
I look at Miss Anna and I say, it's unfortunate, but I think I've found our killers. Potential. Or at least accomplices to such.
Oh. It's all right, everybody. Don't worry. Just stay put. Just all sit down, have a lay down, whatever you need to do. Why do you think that?
Because they will now do exactly what you just said. And I'll just turn to them all.
You see
I
them,
imagine they all just
sit down, lay down, sit back up, stand up, sit down, lay down, sit back up. They get very confused.
Okay, everybody, stay calm, sit down, and wait for me to come back.
And they do exactly that.
Right, let's go find the others.
All right.
Speaking of the others, as the rest of you walk into the main theatre itself, it is very large. There are 3 rows of probably 100 seats each, with aisles going down the middle. And you can instantly see where these bodies are, because they're the only bodies that are in the seating area. 4 rows down in the centre aisle, there are 2 figures that look like they're slumped backwards over the back of the chairs. That's all you can see at the moment as you approach. Is there anything in particular you'd like to do as you approach the bodies, or do you just want to go straight there and start?
Faerun would just go straight over to see who they are.
Okay, so as you go over, I'm going to need, I reckon this would be a history check from both Ak and Rhodey, please.
Do that. Maybe. Unless the dice deceive me. Not nat 20.
Just catching up. I think I'll just roll that. 13 for me.
Okay, so for Rhodey, you recognise these people. They're people that have been into your shop once or twice in the past couple of months, but the names just escape you. But for Ak, you know these 2 as Mr. and Mrs. Rockland. They are elderly humans in their late 50s, early 60s. They're both wearing...
I'm sorry, Josh. Elderly in their late 50s, early 60s.
Yeah, that's elderly
There's
to
going
me.
to be people who are angry about that.
Elderly looking, that they look like they're in... You know,
Time has not been good to them.
Time is, yes.
Yeah, they've had a rough time.
Time has not been good to them, and time has
In their
not been
50s,
good.
60s, look like their 90s, 100s.
Yes. Time has taken their toll on them, and that is because you know them, because you recently, probably in the past 3 months, were you and Dr. Whipplestitch prepared one of their sons for a funeral. He had died due to complication with the bloat. And they were very appreciative of yours and Dr. Whipplestitch's efforts in caring for him and seeing him through his funeral rites and everything. They're wearing nice clothing, but you can instantly tell that it's the sort of clothing that you would get from a tailor to hire for the evening, like sort of on the cheap end. But it looks like they've come out for a night out. And as you get closer to them, you can see in the sort of footwell bit of where they're sitting, there is another figure, a hooded figure that you didn't notice before, but you can't see anything to do with them. It's just they're just all hood at the minute. If you'd like to, Ak, you can make a medicine check with advantage because you are an expert at dead people to determine how they died, if you'd like.
That would be fantastic. Thank you. Yeah, funnily enough, I've not taken proficiency in wisdom, but I'll take the advantage. Okay, that is an 18.
18. So you can see that that Mr. Rockland has been stabbed multiple times in the chest area, and Mrs. Rockland has got a single wound to the top of her head. It looks like a bludgeoning wound.
Right, okay. Can I glean from the stab wounds on Mr. Rockland, like the size of the blade, and it's specifically thrust stabs and not a big slash?
Yep, so it looks to be the size of probably a small knife or maybe even a dagger. And if you were to investigate, like go up to the body and like start poking and prodding it and everything like that, you could tell that each of these stab wounds are very shallow, but there is one, each of them except for one are very shallow. The deepest one is close to where the heart area is. It looks like this is a act of rage.
Curious. I would probably try and I'm not strong at all, so I'd probably sort of look to Rion. Actually, now that we're here, check with Rion. I recognize these two. I'm assuming that Mr. and Mrs. Rockland are not the missing member of your group.
No, they're not.
No. I don't suppose the two of you could assist in perhaps laying these bodies out on the floor, including that one there, so we can get a better look.
Oh dear. I'll do my best, but I'm not the strongest.
Yeah, no problem. Get out of the way. And Rion will go over to one of them and try to haul it out of the seat.
Yeah, I mean, you're pretty strong as it is, so it's not going to require a check or anything for you to do.
Yeah, so despite their diminutive size, quite easily just hauls this dead, or sort of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Cadaver, corpse?
Yeah, no, the word's gone. Like the when you're trying to lift somebody and they do the just
Dead weight.
Dead weight, that's it. Thank you.
Yep, so
impressive.
Very impressive. You pick up the two bodies and you place them both down in the aisle, and you go for the third body and you pick them up and you place them down. Instantly, the first thing that you recognize is that they are human. For the check that you did before, Ak, you also recognize this figure. This figure is the other son of the Rocklands, who was also present at the funeral. However, you had heard that they went missing 2 weeks ago.
Huh.
And
So as I'm picking up the body, I just go, "This isn't Mask either." So, and lay them out.
No, this is the Rocklands' remaining son. I should clarify, I know these people. They had another son who unfortunately passed from the bloat not too long ago. Interesting that... do I know the name of the other Rockland son?
Artemis,
Artemis.
or Artie.
Interesting
Why do you-
that...
Why do you think someone will go to kill them all?
Do I have any inkling, any gossip I'd heard about them? They seemed nice enough, but DM, anything that I would know about them beyond temple chatter?
No, but as Artie's body is placed down, you do notice that his skin is he's got cracks in his skin leading up from his neck right up to his face. And underneath it, where you think there would be red or blood or something, there's a very strange blue glow that sort of streaks up his right cheek and sort of ends at a almost very small hole in his head that looks like it's exploded outwards. And you can see there's a very dim, faint blue glow underneath, and where the scarring is around his cheek area, it looks like it's been charred, as if, for Rhodey, you would get this analogy quicker than what Ack would. It looks as if a fuse has been lit and has travelled up the crack and then exploded from the head.
Oh dear, oh dear. Look, it was kind of like a fuse wire, like the it's ignited and it's out the explosives and that sort of thing.
Like a bomb in the red.
I mean, that's what I, from a mechanical standpoint, would recognise, but it does seem unlikely. Can I start inspecting the body and seeing if they had any kind of mechanical prosthetics or anything like that?
Yeah, you can make me an investigation check.
I would love to.
Whilst Rhodey is starting to investigate the body, Ack is furiously writing notes in their notebook, but you'll just hear as they're doing that, parroted over the top to Rhodey, just Dr. Whipplestitch's like rules for dealing with cadavers and making sure that you're touching them with respect and like how to carefully turn the arms or whatever you're trying to do. Just be like, oh yes, and first you must examine all the fingernails and careful, don't move the arm in this fashion because you might break things, and you'll just hear that parroted to you.
No, very helpful. Oh, useful. Oh, I didn't know that. That was a 20 non-natural.
Okay, so you have a little look around the body. You don't find anything on the torso or on the legs. But when you get to the arms, there's one arm that has been covered up pretty much the entire time. And as you pull the cloak away, you can see that there is almost like a gauntleted contraption on their hand. And it looks like it's got two vials that are sticking out of the gauntlet itself. One of them is empty and the other one seems to have a strange green liquid inside of it.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I suspect this could be to do with it, perhaps.
Is that anything that you recognise?
I mean, would I recognise it beyond knowing that it is some sort of contraption for presumably injecting something into them? I mean, that's exactly what it is. It's something to inject into them. You can make me a tinkerer's check with advantage because it's your area of expertise, and I will allow Ack to also make a history check to see if they recognise anything from it as well.
Great.
Okay. Would you say that which skill should I use? Like intelligence? Are you thinking?
Yes, for this particular tinkering check, intelligence. Yeah.
I will pick one of my hints with.
Nat 1 for a 10 this time.
That's only a 14 from me.
Okie dokie. So for Ack, the green liquid, you recognise it. You can't quite put your finger on what it is because it looks slightly different. You think possibly that it might have something to do with the bloat, but it doesn't look the same as when you've done experiments with it. It's almost got a less plaguey look to it, if that's a way that you could look at the bloat. It looks almost like it's been refined in a way, but you're not 100% sure.
Refined plague.
Yeah, refining the plague. For Rhodey, as you said before, yes, this is a contraption that is used to inject into the creature. As you sort of uncovered the arm a bit, you can see that whatever liquid was in the empty vial has been injected into the body, and you can see that there are blue veins and cracks that have begun to appear up the arm that go up the shot you would assume is what everything else is on his face.
Okay. Do I get the sense that this contraption might be magical or mechanical? I'm wondering if it's worth me kind of taking 10 minutes to identify, or if it's just going to be a...
From your check, you can tell that there is what it injects is magical, but the contraption itself is mechanical.
Okay.
In that case, rather than identify, do you think we've got a bit of time, haven't we? I could just cast myself a ritual, can't I?
Yes, I was considering once we'd examined the bodies in full and got as much information as possible, I was going to see if I could actually have a chat to Sir Archie. So I think you've got time. I was actually thinking that this blue glowing business, it feels familiar. I think it might be something that Sir Ra might know more about when he's returned to us.
Oh, brilliant. Well, I'll get to it then. I'd like to start ritual casting Detect Magic, which for Rhodey involves taking in as much empirical evidence as he can find of the world around. So he gets a tape measure out and starts kind of measuring the shoe size and then up the inseam and kind of just taking lots of facts and measurements from the bodies. And as you can, the two who are near him, as it happens, start to kind of hear this kind of just rhythmical clock ticking as it kind of builds up, and you just can hear this kind of ticking, almost as if it's his inner thought processes are becoming externalized.
Awesome. And while the pair of you are doing that, Rion, what are you doing now that you've seen that this body isn't that of your friend?
I've been sort of paying attention to the chat. I think at this point, I'm looking at the other, while Rhodey and Ak are focusing on the sun, Rion would be looking at the two other bodies, but more just sort of like Rion's a thief and doesn't really know much about investigating stuff. So actually is just ransacking the bodies, I think. So sleight of handing, trying to nick stuff.
You can definitely make a sleight of hand check for me if you'd like.
Cool. 29.
Okay, roll me a D100, please.
59.
You acquire 59 gold pieces from the two corpses.
Right. And then the other thing, so yeah, having got a bit of money, like, I'm sort of interested in how these people died and who they were and all the rest of it, but really I'm just looking for my friend. So I would probably... Do I know of anything that, like an object that Mask would have, like a necklace or something? I mean, all else fails, I will try it with the red patch that they presumably have on their clothing, but...
What, on the body of the...
No, sorry. Mask and Shadows, my friend, what is there an object, something that they own that they carry around with them?
Oh yes, right. Okay, so they have a dagger that they are quite fond of. It's more ceremonial than...
Perfect.
They're not the sort of thief who kills people. They just carry it around as like a ceremonial thing. So that would be, and she would have had that when she was in the orphanage as well.
Right. Cool. Then yeah, I would cast Locate Object while thinking about their knife.
Okay, so you cast Locate Object. As you cast Locate Object, both Zana and Amun will both come into the theatre area. Just as a ping hits off of your friend's dagger, I need both Zana, Amun, and Rion to roll me perception checks, please.
That's a big fat 2.
That's a 20, not that.
18.
18. So as the pair of you step in, you hear this god-awful screeching sound come from the rafters as two cloaked figures dive down. Armin, you quickly raise your hands up and grab hold of one of these creatures and push it off as it backflips and lands in front of you, two daggers held out looking at you. You can see bright blue eyes and a scar going down one side of the face as two more figures come out of where the stage area is. 4 figures in total come out, and that's where we're going to take a break before we roll any sort of initiative.
You mean they're not friendly? They don't just want to say hello?
They could do. They might be persuaded.
Hello, we're here to kill you.
Could you not? Thanks.
Thanks. Thank you very much, everybody. We're going to take a quick 5 to 10 minute break. We shall see you soon. Bye.
Not if I see you first. Yes, you.
Welcome back, everybody. In the first half, our group of adventurers that you see around me now came together at the behest of Melnor Sinclair, a handler that operates within the city of Neverwinter. They have given the group a job to investigate a murder or a group of murders that have taken place in the Blue Lake Theatre within the Blue Lake District. Creative naming, I know. The group made their way to said theatre and quickly discovered that the staff members are acting slightly strangely, like maybe they've had some sort of compulsion placed on them. Don't know. They investigated the bodies and discovered that they are people that both Ak and Rhodey know, Mr. and Mrs. Rockland, and the attacker was their son, who had been presumed missing for the past 2 weeks. And as we left off, as Miss Zana and Aman walked into the main theatre area, they were set upon by 2 cloaked figures diving out of the rafters, with another 2 coming out of the shadows, just as Rion cast Detect Objects on his friend masked in shadows dagger, which pinged from the left-hand side of the stage. And that is where we are going to pick up now. Could everybody roll me initiative, please?
What's a 6?
12.
10, 12, yep.
Also 12.
Oh, which one of you has the higher dex bonus?
Me, I think. I've got a +4.
Yeah,
+4.
+3.
Okay.
5.
Okay.
Team.
Go team.
It's an O team.
Oh, O team.
We're all a bit like, hello, friends. What are you doing here?
I'll be honest with you now, the bandits didn't roll that high. So,
They're bandits, you said.
well, bandits is what I've named them. Bot devices, I don't know why I did that. Anyway, as the combat starts, these 2 figures come out from what would effectively be the backstage area. Rion, your pings on the one on the left-hand side, and as you turn to look, you can see, almost in like a feline pouncing position, a very familiar figure, your friend masked in shadows, but there's something different about her. Normally her eyes would be a very feline yellow, but instead they are a bright, almost flame-like blue. She's got what looks to be a scar going up the side of her face, which is emitting a blue light from it. And as she begins to crawl forward with 2 daggers in her hand, one of them being the dagger that you've identified, which you know that she wouldn't normally use in a fight, you watch as they both erupt with blue flames. From the other side, you see a smaller figure, probably a dwarven figure, wearing the same sort of robes, come out wielding a scimitar-looking weapon that then lights up with blue flame as well. From the rafters, Miss Zana, you dodge out of the way as one lands just next to you, wielding 2 scimitars, blades flaming. And the final one smashes straight into Amon's hands, who grabs them and flings them backwards. As they backflip and land, they've got a scimitar in one hand and a dagger in the other. And as they look towards you, blue flames erupt. All of them have the same thing, scars going up the side of the face, flaming blue eyes with weapons that are now emitting blue flame. And we will start with Rion, as you rolled the highest.
Oh, bloody hell.
Yeah, I know.
So I think, first of all, he would just say, Mask, what's happened to you? I don't know what that accent was.
As talking is a free action, they
That's the name of a show we do.
I know. Check that out on Fridays.
Guys.
The tabaxi that looks back at you just growls almost in like a feral way as they begin to crawl closer to you and does not reply to you.
And how far away from me are they?
I would say, because there's 100 seats in each of the rows, with you being probably the fourth row up, they are probably about 30 feet away.
Okay. I want to just run towards them, and I think at this stage I don't want to hurt them, so I just want to grapple them.
Okay, make me a contested grapple check then, please.
Dear, oh dear. Yeah, that's only a 9.
Oh, well, I rolled a 10, so I did roll much better. As you run up and go to grapple them, you watch as Mask and Shadows just dips and rolls out of in a very cat-like fashion, just moves out of the way and hops up onto one of the chairs and just begins sneering and growling at you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to have anything as my bonus action. That's all.
Okay. At the end of your turn, that makes it Axe turn.
They've all got this trail that looks like the fuse, right?
Yes.
Does it look like it's... Can I see anything that looks like an actual fuse spark that might be going along?
I'll give you this for free. Doesn't look like it. You can see that there's a faint blue glow that's going up through the crack in their skin. You can see there's a very light blue glow emanating underneath their skin as well. For Amon, this is very recognizable to something that's happened to you previously. But you can't see like a sort of thing happening.
Okay. I think for the moment, none of them have strictly attacked yet. And the way that Rion reacted, you specifically referred to your friend, right? You specifically said Mask out loud. Okay. I will... Ak will draw from in their robes a quill that's on a necklace that's got a single black feather, looks like a kenku feather on it, and will write in the air with it just the word calm, and it'll just sort of appear in spectral blue writing, and then as they finish the end of the M, the word is going to fly over and kind of wash over Mask. I'm seeing if casting command will work on them. Could they please make me a wisdom saving throw?
Is command a charm effect by chance?
Yes, likely. Let me no effect if the target is undead, if it doesn't understand your language, or if command is directly harmful to it. Doesn't say anything about charm, actually.
Ooh,
it is an enchantment spell.
Oh, that's fine. Wisdom save, yeah?
Yes, please.
Okie, so they have advantage with this. That's a natural 20 on the first roll. Unfortunately. So as you go to command them to calm down, you watch as the wave of magic goes over them, but the blue parts of their eyes where the scar is seem to flare up, almost causing the magic around that you've cast to evaporate around them, causing no effect.
Curious. All right. I only have spells as my bonus actions, so I will leave it for the moment.
Okie dokie. So, at the end of Axe turn, that is then going to make it Rhodey's turn.
Blimey, with a 10. Okay. I think that I'm going to. I wasn't expecting things to jump out at us, so I think Rhodey's instinct is just going to be to try and protect those kind of dearest to him, and he is included in that number. I'm going to cast Aid on Ak, on Xana, and on myself. So that is your hit point maximum and current hit points increased by 5 for the duration. And it's not concentration either, which is nice. So yeah, give yourselves an extra 5 to play with.
Thank you.
And similarly, I don't really have anything to do with my bonus, or nothing that I want to do right now.
Okay. Right, so after Rhodey's turn, you watch as these 4 figures begin to move around. Other than Mask in Shadows, it seems that the others all seem to move in unison with each other, and the one that is in front of Aman is going to dive forward with the scimitar and the dagger and is going to attempt to make 2 slash attacks against you.
Yes, well, my AC is not that high, so it's probably fine.
I rolled a 9, so that's not going to do anything. That was with the scimitar. And as they go to bring down you, just dodge out of the way, and they go for another attack, sort of like a striking uppercut with the dagger, which will be a 24 to hit.
Oh, misses. No.
Sorry, what? That will be 6 points of piercing damage and 6 points of fire damage.
Great. Squad 12.
As it slashes into your almost open chest area, the flame itself licks up afterwards, sort of cauterizing the wound so there's no arterial spray from it. And the creature almost does a full 360 spin and gets down into a crouching position ready for you to attack back at it. The one next to it that's just in front of Xana is going to lunge forward, both weapons out, 2 scimitars out, and is going to go for 2 attacks against you, Miss Xana.
Yeah.
That is a 25 to hit.
Oh yeah, that hits. Yep.
So you will take 8 points of slashing damage and 3 points of fire damage.
Yeah.
And the second attack, which is a not loading. There we go.
That's the
That is
worst
going.
attack of all. It's devastating. Not loading.
That's a
Fifth level
14 to
spell.
hit.
Pardon?
14 to hit.
No.
No. So the first scimitar plunges into the side of your shoulder. The flame erupts and causes an intense pain to rush through your body, and as it goes to swing round for another attack, the blade itself is blocked by your pseudo dragon, which is still sitting on your shoulder, and the tail whips it off, causing the blade to arch over. The creature takes a step back, flings both blades into a reverse position, and sushes you out for you to attack it back. The dwarven figure unfortunately can only move 25 feet, and all of you are 30 feet away, so it moves round to the center aisle and begins making its way up. It will take the dash action to actually get into effectively base contact with Rhodey and Ak, but it's unable to make any attacks this turn, but it looks menacing. And Mask in Shadows is currently perched on top of the chairs. She jumps up almost in like a barrel roll motion away from you, Rion, and you watch as 2 flaming daggers come out of her hands and hit into you, hopefully. With a 25 to hit.
Yeah.
And a 15 to hit.
Nope.
Okay, so you'll take 7 points of piercing damage and 2 points of fire damage as you dodge out of the way of one of the daggers, but as you dodge out of the way of that one, you inadvertently dodge into the way of the other one, and it hits you in one of your pectoral muscles. But as you go to look down and go to grab it, it just fizzles out and reappears in her hands.
And how much damage to that, sorry?
That was 7 points of piercing and 2 points of fire.
And as we discussed before, Josh, when Rion gets hit and takes damage, they kind of reel a bit, and you see everyone else sort of sees their face twist up, and they hunch over, and their entire body just sort of almost explodes and grows in size. From they were maybe about 4.5, 5 feet tall, and suddenly they look like maybe 7.5, 8 feet tall ogre. Their loose clothing is sort of stretched across the body, and they have entered into a barbarian rage. Anyone around, I suppose, would probably, if your character is familiar with changelings, would realize that Rion is a changeling.
Mm-hmm. And with
that's my react.
Yeah, sorry. And with that epic amount of attacks and transformation, that is then going to make it Amun's turn.
Cool. I think Amun goes to his chest where the scarring is, but instead of touching it, he unlocks a belt and pulls out his adachi with the scabbard still on. I'm going to bonus action rage, and when he does, he just opens his mouth and fangs pop out. And as he does so, the scarring on his chest just slowly starts to knit together again. That's the resistance kicking in. And I'm just going to run at this one in front of me and just beat it over the head with the great sword. But it's non-lethal damage, hence why I'm keeping the scabbard on. So yeah.
Fantastic. Make me an attack roll.
Ooh, that's not great. I think that's only a 15. Yeah, 15 to hit.
15 is exactly what you needed.
Ooh, something we have in common.
Yes.
Okay, so I think when I'm raging, it's a +2 now. Yes. Excellent stuff. Oh, I can reckless attack, actually. So I'm going to do that for advantage.
Yeah.
Reckless.
Which meant nothing.
No.
6 plus 4 is 10 points of damage for the first attack. And then they're still standing, presumably.
Still standing, yep.
Cool, and then I'll strike again at them recklessly. Oh. Okay, for a 24.
That will definitely hit.
Oh, that's a lot better. 15 points of damage.
Oh, yes.
And he's probably just swinging hard at their body, just straight into the torso again. There's no skill to this. He's just beating them with a bat, essentially.
Almost like two
Steins.
Yeah, just attacking into them. The creature tries to dodge and block the attacks, but the full force and ferocity of your strikes clicks into their body, causing them to buckle down onto one knee. And as they go to stand back up, you almost spin around and baseball bat them straight in the chest, causing the wind to get knocked out of them. They drop one of the weapons to the floor, but it sort of evaporates as it touches the floor and forms back in their hand. But they look like they took a massive blow from that.
That is my turn, for I cannot do anything else. Use bonus actions. I seem to have unlocked my angelic presence once more.
Next is Miss Zana's go.
Okay. With permission, I'm going to cast Enlarge on Amun. And that will give you extra D4 to your attacks. And obviously give you advantage on strengths and stuff like that. Yeah.
Sybil.
The hell and also with permission, with my bonus action, can I get my beetle to try and help flank to give little assistance, little flanking bonus?
Yep. Would you like it to flank the one that's attacking Amun or the one that's fighting you?
Fighting Amun. Just to assist.
I mean, for a little out of game thing, I have advantage because of reckless.
Okay.
So if you want to use it, that's totally fair.
Okay. I do. Then with me then. Hooray!
So as you cast your enlarge spell, how does that look as it comes? Where does it come from? Hands, goggles, contraptions?
It mostly comes from hands, but it's her movements are very almost tinkering his body from afar. Just
like that, yeah.
Mm. Yeah, it was like golden fingertips.
As you're tinkering away with the spell, you watch as a moon begins to grow, then begins to shrink, then begins to grow again as you're tinkering around with it until eventually he reaches the size that the spell allows. As that happens, your beetle friend rolls up into a ball and almost rolls around you, because it was behind you at this point, rolls through the door around you and gets around to the back of this creature that is attacking you. Is basically going to do the help action to help you on your next turn. Awesome. Okay, so anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay, back to the top of the round, and it is Rion's turn again.
Cool. I am going to, now that I'm raging, just attack. Do I want to do a thing first? So I'm still sort of in the seats, yes?
So you would have gotten to the bottom of the center aisle and over towards the left-hand side. So you're right where the stage area is. So you've got seats behind you and the stage in front of you with like an open space.
And where exactly is Mask?
Mask is on the left-hand aisle. They've sort of backflipped and jumped and sort of barrel rolled and landed on the outside aisle, if that makes sense. So there's an aisle and wall there for them.
Yeah, okay. So, being as I'm now a very large person, or not very large, technically medium, can I cheekily bonus action hide in the seats as I approach them? Because I'm a rogue.
Flipping rogues.
I know.
Make me a stealth check.
Sure. That's a nat 1 for an 11.
So as you go to hide, you walk up to the chairs and you crouch down, but because your body is a little bit larger than what it normally is, your head and upper torso part just sort of stick out.
Yeah, okay, fine. Fair, totally fair. And in that case, then I will, as I'm doing that, I'm sort of crouched between the seats, like a lion in the long grass or something. And as I go over to them, I pull out both a scimitar and a hand axe, and I'm going to take 2 attacks at them. So my hand axe is a 16 to hit.
That will hit.
And the scimitar is going to be 17 to hit.
That will hit. You can roll damage for both.
Cool. So what's that? 8, 6, and then I get plus 2, so 10. 18 points of damage.
Sorry, I had to do quick math in my head then. Yes, so...
and just a second, sorry, I have another thing which I don't think is a bonus action. No, it's not. So being from the College of Swords Bard, I have a few things I can do. Yeah, so the first hit, I'm going to use a slashing flourish on, which does another 5 points of damage. Oh no, sorry, that's not the one I meant to use. It doesn't make any sense to use. I will use a defensive flourish, which means, yeah, they take 5 extra damage, and I also get to add that to my AC until the start of my next turn.
Awesome. So your AC is now 5 points higher.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so as you move in and you begin your flurry of attacks against Mask with Shadow, she tries to dodge out of the way. It looks like she's going to get out of the way of one of them, but you nick the side of her shoulder with the corner of your blade. And as you go to bring the hand axe down, she does block it with her own daggers, but the sheer strength that you have in the position that you're in and the form that you're in causes the axe to fall down into the bicep part of her arm, causing her some damage. You don't see any blood pouring out of her, though, from the cuts that have been dealt to her.
Okay.
And no reaction to the pain either. Anything else on your turn?
Nope, that's all.
Okay, so it's now Ack's turn. Ack, you have got a rather angry dwarven person in front of you, along with Rhodey, who has just casted Aid on you.
Lovely. So there's just the one next to us, right? So is that 4 total?
There's 4 in total, yeah.
Yeah. One with Rion, one with Amun, one with Scarlet, and one with Mizana, and one with Rhodey and I. Okay.
Indeed, yeah.
I think the Ack will, still holding their quill, will turn to the one that's just rocked up to us two, and just say, excuse me, we are in the middle of a murder investigation. Please, could you leave us alone? This is not casting a spell, this is just talking as a free action. Did they respond in any way?
Their response to you is, "Urgh."
Okay, I see the way this is going. We'll draw a spectral quill this time in the air, and it will sort of rise up and take slightly. It's still relatively spectral, but will take on a slightly more tangible form as Ack casts their spiritual weapon, and I will make a melee attack roll with the spiritual quill. Oh, that's a bit rubbish. That's an 11 to hit. As the quill goes to attack, its form hasn't quite solidified, and it sort of goes through the creature, the dwarf. Acts like, no, that's not how it's supposed to work. You're going to have to come back and try again next time, okay? And then we'll again turn to the dwarf in front of me. Please excuse them. They are trying. We'll have to deal with this instead. And we'll quickly scribble out a bell in the air. Can they please make a wisdom saving throw? Because I'm casting Toll the Dead as a cantrip for my action. That is even with advantage, because it's a spell, that's a natural 1.
Hey!
I rolled 2 1s!
You rolled 2 1s, jeez.
That will not suffice, I'm afraid. The bells toll as it hits them. It kind of reverberates around their head. They take a whole 8 points of necrotic damage. As your bells ring and what looks like blood begins to pour out of the ears, again, you notice that there's no reaction to this pain. They just seem to be taking the damage. This does not seem ideal. I'm assuming I am within melee range of them, right? They came right up to us. Yes. Then I will not try and take a step back. I will stay there. Okay. At the end of Ack's turn, that is going to make it Rhodey's turn.
Awesome. So there's one right up close with Ack and myself.
There is indeed, yep. Which is in your face, I believe is the correct combat term for it.
Yeah. Okay.
In your grill.
Or in your grill, yep.
My grill is indeed being upend.
Burgers.
Hot dogs. Toasting some buns.
Cool. I would like to. So I've seen Xana get hurt by one of these things. How many of them? If I were looking around the room and I were trying to cast a spell with a 10-foot radius, how many of them could I get without also getting anyone that I like?
So you cast a spell and get just the dwarf in front of you, or Mask of Shadows that's in combat with Rion down at the end of the arena. I called it an arena. Or you could cast it and catch the two that are fighting both Zana and Amon, but you would also catch Zana's beetle in it as well.
I don't think Zana would forgive me.
The look that you just got tends to agree.
Okay. I think I shall just have to rely on Ak to give people hit points back if it comes to it. Right, in that case, I am just going to go for a very simple cantrip. I will use Mind Sliver. I kind of draw energy from Mechanis and start to slow down the dwarf's synapses and thinking processes, and they start to kind of jar as they're just not quite able to access their brain in the way they want to. That is an intelligence saving throw, please.
Okay, intelligence save. Ooh.
Yes.
That is a 12.
A 12 is not enough. So that is 7 points of psychic damage, and they must subtract a d4 from the next saving throw that they make before the end of my next turn.
As you cast this spell at them and their mind is invaded, they almost withdraw into themselves and they let out a screeching cry. And as they look up towards you, you can see blood is beginning to pour out of their eyes and out of their ears further from the effects of the tolls of the dead. But it looks like they've been seriously affected by this spell.
Mm-hmm. And again, I'm not going to use any of my bonus actions, so I am, and similarly to Ak, I'm just going to stand there frozen because I don't want to get slapped.
Okay, so your turn is done. It is the bandits' turn. The first one that will act will be Mask in Shadows. They look at what you've just done to them, Rion, and they will use a bonus action to disengage away from you, and they run almost like rolling underneath you and beginning to make their way towards the backstage area. As they do, they will do some rogue flippy shit again, and they will begin throwing daggers at you. 2 more, to be in fact. That is a 14 to hit and a 21 to hit.
Oh, yeah, the 21 hits.
Okay, you'll take 8 points of piercing damage and 6 points of fire damage.
Is that already the piercing halved because of my resistance?
That is not, no. So it'd be 4 and 6.
4 and 6, cool.
Yeah. The sort of haphazard way that they've disengaged and moved away from you and done the whole flipping caused the first dagger to soar straight over your head. They misjudged how tall you were. The second one, though, however, was a bit lower down and hits you in the upper part of your leg. The dagger itself again disappears and both reform in her hands as she is seemingly backing away towards the curtain. The dwarven fellow, who is looking very hurt at the moment and is expressing his pain, just pulls out 2 light hammers and begins attacking into... He's going to do 1 attack on Rhodey and 1 attack on Ak. 1 Ak attack, as it were.
Attack.
Attack. So against Rhodey, that'll be a 16, and against Ak, that's going to be a 10.
Does not hit.
Shield.
Okay, so as Ak just sort of steps a little bit out of the way to dodge the attack, the other one looks like it's going to connect with Rhodey. Rhodey, I have a feeling how this is going to look, but just describe how your shield looks.
I think it's got a very kind of clock like face, like one of those clocks that I think pretty much everybody's nan had, like with the dome. It's kind of almost like Rhodey just gets covered by the dome of that, and you can almost see the reflections of the little spinny ball things. And this might not be a thing in America, but very British retirement clock, I think.
Everybody's nan had a clock. That's just something we have in Britain.
Yeah.
Everyone's nan, without fail.
Nanoclocks.
That's what we call them.
Nanoclocks.
My nan's clock.
As the light hammer hits into this shield that you've cast, the flames lick up the dome that's formed, and a small crack begins to appear as it's recoiled off, and the dwarf is almost recoiled and takes a step back from it. The shield part heals and then dissipates around you, but it hasn't been able to hit you. The other 2, the one that is up in combat with Zana, seeing this large mechanical beetle type creature appear behind it, is going to stand sideways with its 2 scimitars, and it's going to stab towards you, Zana, and then backwards stab into the beetle. So against you, there's the natural 20.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Yes. I'm sorry. That is going to be 8 points of slashing damage and 8 points of fire damage. How the hell did that roll the exact same? 16 points of damage in total. And then against your beetle, that is going to be a 16 to hit.
I gotta look for my beetle's shizzle.
Beetle's shizzle.
Oh, it's 15, I think.
15, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So your beetle will take 6 points of slashing damage and 2 points of fire damage. As it connects in, causing a critical blow to yourself and causing some minor scratches to the beetle itself. It is then the one that is fighting against Amun, and this creature does the whole sort of spinning its weapons around, and then leaps in the air with its weapons both pointing down, and it's going to go for like a multi-stab attack against you.
They'll have advantage as well.
It will indeed.
Makes no sense for it to have advantage if it's just like, if it's parading the fact it's going to attack you. Like, this doesn't do anything. This is.
It's because I'm open. I'm open. Do you know what I mean? I've been reckless with my attacking. One might say.
Someone's just been like, "Yeah, great flourishes, pal. Good work.
Come on, please,
Have a go.
try."
So the scimitar is going to be a 17 to hit you. Okay, that is going to be 6 points of slashing damage and 3 points of fire damage.
So 9 halved is 4.
Yes. Yes. Wait, why is math so hard to all of a sudden?
It's 4.5, but you round down.
Why are numbers?
Numbers. The second one was, that is going to be, let me just click on that. That is 4 points of piercing damage and 3 points of fire damage. That was a very low roll.
So that's 3 in total.
Yes.
Great. I love resistances.
As it stabs into your chest, almost its feet are on your abdomen area and the blades are in your shoulders. It pulls the blades out and uses your body as a springboard to flip backwards and land on the floor. This one, other than Mask and Shadow, seems to be the most acrobatic of the four. oddly enough. But anyway, that's their turn done. And that is then going to make it Amun's turn.
Great. I don't think Amun's realised that he's bigger. I think so. His eyes are usually like this wonderful golden, like sun yellow and orange kind of colour, but they're currently just deep red. And he's going to just look down, and I'm just going to bite him.
Oh, okay.
So that is, and I'm going to do it recklessly. Is a 21, I think, to hit.
Just picturing a reckless bite is nom 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 nom.
I think as they're like jumping off of my torso, I think he just like leans in and just chomps onto their like body.
Oh yes, 21 is definitely going to hit.
I'll tell you what. I'll take the health. A D4, but it's an extra D4 because of
being big boy,
being enlarged, which is great. Plus 5, great. Oh, I'm gonna get some decent health back. No, I'm not, because I rolled 2 ones. So that is a total of 7 points of piercing damage, and I will drink his blood for a further 7 points of healing.
When you drink this creature's blood, it burns, not to the point that it hurts you, but it's almost like a ghost chili pepper type hot. There's a real spice to this blood.
Just like home. I'll then beat him with my scabbard.
Yep, go ahead.
Great. Okay, so that is... what is it? Okay, either a 14 or a 14. I rolled 2 7s, and I think that's too low, isn't it?
That is too low. The spices from the bite just off-put your blow slightly, and it just ducks underneath it.
Okay. Yeah, that is... Yeah, I think that's it. I don't have any other bonus actions. Yeah, unless you allow offhand unarmed strikes.
Yeah, why not? Bonus action, go for it.
Great. I guess I'll just boot him.
Yeah, why not? The rules, they be more like guidelines.
That is a 15.
That hits. That'll do 1d4 damage.
It's just, apparently here it's just 5 plus my
it's
rage.
Unarmed, isn't it? Sorry, I thought you meant the butt of your weapon. Yeah.
I just do 7 points of damage with a good kick. Oh no, plus a d4 because I'm enlarged.
Enlarged, yeah.
7 plus 2 is 9. 9 points of damage in total. So I boot him.
Do you know what doesn't help? Is when you delete the hit points before getting even the total, and then you forgot what the number was. It's all right. He's got a little less than what you probably had anyway. But yeah, you boot him almost Spartan kick style, and he's not able to dodge this. He goes into the stack of chairs and falls down 2 rows before stopping and looking like he's clumped in, but he just begins to pull himself up. He's still alive. He's looking very bloodied, as it were. At the end of your turn, that makes it Zana's turn.
Okay. So I'm going to cast Shocking Grasp directly to the person's face with the scar, because I want to see what that does.
Okay, roll, because your beetle friend is on the other side, roll that attack with advantage, please.
Ooh.
I like doing flanking.
26.
That hits. Roll some damage. And you're targeting the scar specifically, yes?
Mm-hmm. That's 6.
Okay. Let me just roll something quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So as I take it your hands sort of light up and you do almost like a defibrillator type thing to them.
Yeah.
So as you do that, you watch as this electricity courses through their face to the point where, in cartoons and stuff, you see the skeleton underneath, you see the skull underneath, but at the same time you hear almost like a ticking noise, and you watch as the skin around the scar begins to singe all the way up, and you just watch as this explosion happens in the head. Can you make a dexterity saving throw, please?
Okay. Very well. 18. As this brain matter comes towards you, you able to dodge out of the way of it. There was no damage involved. I just wanted to see if you got covered in brain. This creature just falls. This creature that hadn't been hurt just falls to the floor, head.
Well, we found their weakness.
Electricity to the face.
Many creatures' weaknesses.
Yeah. Is there anything else on your turn?
I will shout out, I got one! And I will move BE behind another assailant.
Yeah, the one, so you could either move it to, I would say that your beetle friend would be able to get to, definitely would be able to get to the one that Amun's fighting, or you could roll it down towards where the dwarf is, but he probably just get to the side of it. So in order for Ak or Rhodey to get advantage, they'd have to move to the left of him in order to get it.
I will help Rhodey.
Mm-hmm.
I will move it to the side. But I can also attack with my beetle.
You can indeed.
Because there's a beautiful beetly boy.
Beautiful beetle boy.
Beautiful boy. Okay, let me just roll. No. 11.
11, as your beetle boy rolls up, he unfurls a bit too early. So instead of using his full body weight to crush this creature, he unfurls and just pokes it with his nose, and unfortunately doesn't do any, well, what would be considered a beetle's nose, but it doesn't do anything.
Beetle
We tried.
Squirts him with a bit of beetle juice. Don't say that 3 times.
You tried so hard.
Beetle guys?
Anything else on your turn, Zana? At the end of your turn, it goes back to the top of the round, and it is Rion's turn. The Mask in Shadows is 30 feet away from you now, as they have duck, dodged, and rolled, and have begun making their way to the backstage area.
Yeah. Cool. So I realised I screwed up last time because I don't have an extra attack. I have 2-weapon fighting, so I couldn't use my bonus to hide. But it didn't give me any advantage, so I don't feel too bad about it. It just means I'm not going to do it this time. Raging just will charge up on the stage, scimitar and hand axe, and take 2 swipes at Mask. Does anybody else here speak Goblin? Yes. No.
You.
Okay. And like while running towards Mask, you might witness that. Rion is shouting in Goblin, but nobody knows what they're saying, I guess. Cool. So that with the scimitar, it's an at 20.
Oh yes.
Come on. Which does 8 then. So that does 10 points of damage. And then the hand axe has only an 11.
So you strike out with your scimitar, causing a critical blow to Mask in Shadows, catching her across as she's ducked down in almost like a prowling position. Your scimitar strikes into her collarbone, shoulder blade, at the back, and you scrape that along. Again, you don't see any arterial spray of blood or anything come from her. As you go down for an attack with the hand axe, she sees it, leaps up onto your hand, almost like a normal-sized cat would, and then just without any weight to it, propels herself off and lands in front of you.
Cool. I'm sorry, I would like to have used the defensive flourish again.
No, that's fine.
First attack, which means, yes, another 6 points of damage, and I get 6 on my AC.
Sweet.
And that's my turn. Thanks.
I put the wrong number in. I gave her more hit points than I should have. I put the right second number in, but not the right first number. So, but yes, you can tell looking at her that she is bloodied, although she's not expressing that she's injured.
Cool. Also, the College of Swords stuff, each of them gives me an extra 10 feet on my movement. So I would like to have gone past her and like get in the way of her running backstage and getting away from all this.
Okay. Yep. So you do that. You block her path. She's looking at you, and you can see that her eyes are frantically moving around. One of the daggers disappears in her hand and begins making its way up towards her cloak, and you can see that there's a contraption on her arm. At the end of your turn, that is going to make it Axe turn.
How injured is Ms. Zana and Rion looking? Big wide eyes, huh?
Pretty gross.
She bleeds. Fair enough. How's Rion looking?
Hurt, but not bloodied.
Okay.
Quite.
All right. Ak will turn to Rhodey and say, Rhododendron, Ginzik, Butterscotch, Garamouche, Montgomery, Dax, could you please take care of our assailant here? And we'll try and step away. I have an AC of 16. I don't know how our friend is with that opportunity attacks.
They will attempt an attack against you. That is a 18.
That will hit.
Okay, so you will take 4 points of slashing damage and 1 point of fire damage.
Right, that's fine. But I can still continue scooting a bit closer to Mizana.
You can indeed, yes.
Yeah, it doesn't stop me from moving. Actually, that's a good point. Is Mizana within 30 feet?
Yes, but she would be within both Misana and Amun would be within 20 feet of you, and Rion has moved to about 40 feet now away.
Ah, interesting. Okay. What I would like to do then is that a concentration? Yes, it is. No. I'm gonna scoot over to Mazana, and as Ak, is approaching. Where's my spell? We'll just reach towards Mizana, and you just see that same sort of blue spectral energy. They've not had to sketch it out this time, but kind of fizzles from their hand, and they'll tap you on the shoulder for a cure wounds to the value of... Oh, hey, that was good. 18 points of healing.
Fucking hell, that's very good.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
6 and an 8 on the dice. Bonus action, the spectral quill, spiritual weapon, is going to turn around and try and attack the dwarf again with a +8. Oh man, it's really not. No, that's the same roll. There's an 11 again. It just kind of swooshes back through it, and it's just like if a quill could look confused.
It does.
Just like
sort of float in there, and it sort of tilts to the side as if it's confused.
I really need to be paying more attention to you. I am so sorry. We'll try again next time. That's what I've done.
Okay, at the end of your turn, that makes it Rhodey's turn.
Okay. So Rhodey heard Xana shout out that the lightning helped. Rhodey doesn't know any lightning spells and kind of just sits there like thinking, and you can almost see the kind of faint equations and things floating in the air in front of his eyes as he starts to concoct something. From his metallic backpack, a pair of arms, kind of metallic, sort of metal arms just kind of come out, holding various scientific apparatus. I'm using my Misium apparatus to cast Witch Bolt, which I do not know, which is going to be a roll. It's an Arcana check. The DC is 12. To see whether I can cast Witch Bolt.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, easily done. That is a 19. So, oh no, it's not. It's a 22. I can't count. So yeah, I am casting Witch Bolt. So that, I believe I then actually have to make the ranged spell attack as well. So I'm just going to do that. 19 to hit.
19 will hit. Now, my question to you is, Rhodey, are you targeting a particular area of this creature or just the creature?
I'm fairly certain that Mazana said to lightning the face, so I'm going to Witch Bolt them in the face.
Okay. And as you do, you Witch Bolt them in the face. There's no need to roll damage for it, because again, the same as what happened with the creature with Miss Xana, the scar itself begins to light up, char up the skin bits, and then explodes out of this dwarf's side of this dwarf's head. Roll me a dexterity saving throw, please, to see if you get covered in brain matter.
7.
You get a bit of brain matter on your very nice looking outfit that you're wearing.
Oh dear.
But that is the dwarf taken care of. We just have Mask in Shadows and the rather acrobatic one that is fighting Amun left. If that is the end of your turn, that will make it their turn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so is there...
Can I just sidebar? Is Rhodey one of the Chuckle Brothers?
To me too. Oh dear. No. Yeah, I think that is it. I don't want to use my my sorcery points just yet, so I'm good.
Okey-dokey. So it is now the bandits go. The one that is attacking Amun is going to try to attack you now. Please remind me, did you attack recklessly last time? You did with the bite, didn't you? Yeah.
I did with everything.
You did with everything. Ooh, so it will attack.
I rolled 2 7s, all of them.
Can I use my reaction to restore balance? I want to turn that to a flat roll.
Yes, you can. Yes, so the first attack will be a flat roll. The first attack was going to be with the scimitar anyway, which does more damage. So that is a 13 to hit.
No.
So that misses. And the dagger attack is going to be a 16 to hit.
Yeah.
You'll take 5 points of piercing damage, half to 2, and 3 points of fire damage.
Half to 1.
Yes.
Great, so 3 in total.
Yes.
Yeah, Path of the Totem Warrior, so all the resistances bar psychic.
Yep. So as they move in, the attack with the scimitar looks like it's going to hit, but some strange clockwork things happen around it and cause it to miss, and they just swing up with the dagger, not quite getting the full force of it. Their own arm seems to get in their way, because that's how I did it, that's how it's going to happen, and it just catches your chin and causes a cut.
Nice.
It doesn't do an awful lot to you. The other one, Mask in Shadows, seeing Rion in their way, is going to move up to you and is going to attempt to move past you with the disengage action. They get down a lot of the fighting that they've done has been on all fours. They've mainly jumped up and thrown their daggers around rather than actually coming at you and trying to stab you. So they still on all fours run and go to move under your legs. Using the disengage action, they're able to get through and they disappear behind the curtain and you can't see them. That is the end of their turn. There is just the one fighting Amun left, as far as you're aware, and that makes it. No, that's them. That makes it. Hang on, my brain's just us Amuns, and there we go.
I'm gonna proceed to beat the shit out of them with this scabbard.
Go ahead.
I'll recklessly attack as always.
Yep.
For a 19.
Hits.
Dealing. It's 8 plus. Let me just get pluses right. I think it's plus 6. Yeah, 8 plus 6. Oh no, do it this way. 19 points of damage in total for the first attack.
Hey.
Are they still awake?
Just.
Okay, great. Well, that's always good for a second attack then.
Yep.
That is.
I mean, I think that attack knocked the wind out of me, let alone them.
Reckless. Oh, that's a natural 20 for reckless.
Okay.
Great. Well,
They
you
have-
don't get that many dice.
I will let you roll the damage for the satisfaction of it, but they only have 5 hit points left, so no matter what you do, they are unconscious.
But now I have like 6 dice in my hand. Oh no.
Yeah.
Wait, one less.
So, I mean, roll it for satisfaction now. I'd like to see how much damage you do on a crit.
Okay, not great.
Wow.
6, 10, 14 plus 6 is 20 in total for
Okay.
a critical hit. And I think it's one down, and then as they're like sort of stumbling away, I think he just bats their head so hard that it just clean colds them out.
Causes them to do like a lot of the flipping stuff that they've already done, but they spin right around and then just land face first on the floor, completely unconscious. That is effectively the end of combat. Rion, you're able to go and have a look around the backstage area, but you cannot see Mask and Shadows anywhere. They have seemingly disappeared. But the rest of you have one unconscious bandit.
I think then, Rion would be crashing around backstage for maybe 3 or 4 turns, like smashing stuff until the sound sort of abruptly stops. And then not the same young child. This one is a young dragonborn with copper skin, or looking like a young dragonborn with copper skin, wanders out from backstage. Same clothes, and you might notice that their clothes have don't seem any more damaged than they were previously. This is a thing that happens. And they come.
Like the Hulk.
Yeah. And
How do we know it's you though?
Can we roll insight?
Do we know, or are we just like, who are you? Are you?
They're carrying the sickle, not sickle, the scimitar and hand axe, but they sort of wander out looking a bit dazed and really quite dejected. And we'll look around at all of you and are you all right?
Seem to be.
Yes.
Yes. Sorry about the mess. I sort of like look at all the blood down my body.
Oh dear. Let's get you cleaned up. Anyone who's kind of probably starting with myself and the brain matter, I will go around and I will prestidigitate people. I probably give a subtle mending to Axe clothes while I'm going round as well.
I have a ripped shirt actually. If you want to find.
Oh yeah, of course.
Thank you.
So you've got an unconscious body, 2 additional dead bodies. You can roll insight or perception to see if this is Rion or a new figure, but judging by the way they've spoken, the clothes they're wearing, and the weapons they're wielding, and with the transformation that you saw from them before, you could quite easily put two and two together if you want to. But yes, combat is over. What would you like to do with everything that has happened?
I'm going to get BE to partially stop the unconscious one from like getting up or moving, not to squish, but just to grapple.
Basically, sit on a part of them.
Gentle sit.
A gentle sit.
Could I uncover their hood? Because we never actually saw what they look like.
No, yep. So you uncover their hood. They look elven. They've got the elven the pointed ears of an elven person. Again, they've got the same scar going up the face. Their eyes are closed, so you can't see the colour of their eyes. But from post-combat fighting with them, their eyes were bright blue. Their weapons have the flames on their weapons have dulled, as have the flames on the weapons of the ones that have been killed.
Can I lift their eyelid to see if they are still blue?
You lift the eyelid up. You can see that the scar itself is still pulsing the same blue, but the eyes are a very dull blue. Still looks unnatural.
Can we restrain them somehow? Like, have they got rope on them, or I think I might have some rope.
Yeah. You've got a large beetle sitting on their legs.
But their hands are still free.
But their hands are still free.
Yeah, I'd like to like hog tie this motherfucker.
Yeah, you can do that, yeah.
Cool.
Plenty easy enough. You're an experienced adventurer. You're able to do that without any checks or anything needed for it.
So we have some news about the attendants down the hall. Is that they also seem to be suffering from a similar kind of mind control. All follow orders very easily, but none of them have this strange blue thing. We've come across these creatures before. My friend
Yes, you
and I.
said this was what you encountered before you came to us, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Who had done it to them?
I don't know. My friend and I were hunting down a vampire called Mordecai. He's very evil from very far away from the lands of Zakar, where I am from. And, well, my mother has been hunting him for years, even longer than since I was born. So he's very old, very strong, very powerful. But I've not heard of him using this technique before. This is new, even for me.
Why did you have reason to believe he had come to Neverwinter?
This is what I do. I hunt vampires, and this is where the trail led. Our mutual friend, how do I pronounce it again? It's,
Earthos Wise Shield.
No, the other person. Malone?
Oh, Melnor.
Melnorn.
Yeah.
Melnorn Sinclair is digging into this for me. My friend, Earthos, is missing. They were the person that was hunting Mordecai.
We'll just turn and look at Rion with a... I don't think kangaroos have eyebrows, but a quizzical head cock.
But it's not eyebrow, it's a feather brow.
Well, my mask went missing, and well, now they're like that. So if your friend's gone missing, then there's a good chance they're either dead or like that.
Yes. Well, it is good we have one captured. You are all very trained well in mystical arts and probably have a greater understanding than I do. But
I'm
at least
sorry
we can...
we were not able to catch your friend, Rion.
That's okay. She knows what happens if I get her, and I'm just glad that she got away before I did something I'd regret.
If we are able to wake up our new acquaintance here, I might be able to try and tap in a little bit to see if there's anything controlling them. If I can get a sense of that, maybe. It's one of the skills Ogmar has lent me. Otherwise, my other suggestion would be to speak to one of the more departed people here to see if we can get anything from them.
I think we should start there. I would be cautious of waking anybody up under mind control. I feel like usually these kinds of things are two-way streets.
Maybe, but it might give us insights into who exactly is controlling them now.
This is awesome. No, you are all the experts when it comes to the mystic arts. I will happily heed to your greater knowledge.
Did anyone have anything specific that they thought might be useful to ask? My preference of the three in the room that seem to have had this blue on them. My preference would be to speak to the late Sir R.T. Rockland, considering I somewhat knew him beforehand, whereas these two, looking at the thugs that attacked us, I have no idea.
Does that help with the questions if they knew you before?
I don't know. Actually, no, I probably would know that because Dr. Whipplestitch probably would have done it before.
Yes. Sorry, I can unmute for a second then. But yes, you would know that casting Speak Dead with a figure that you are familiar with gives a sense of, can sometimes give them a sense of calm if they do realise that they are dead. With these faces revealed on these bodies, can Zana make me a history check, please?
Yes. Yes, I can. Oh, it's a 6.
6? No, that's fine. It was a pretty easy check, but you get the feeling that you've seen these faces somewhere before. All of them. This is while Ak is preparing the Speak with Dead spell.
Right. I'll get a little closer just to try and jog my memory just a little bit.
There's something about them, but your memory of them is less of a 3D aspect and more of a 2D aspect.
Well, but that definitely looks... Well, his features there... Hold on. I'm going to get my binder out of all the missing people and try and match faces.
Takes you a little bit of time because some of the pictures might have a nose that's a little bit bigger than what it should be, or a little bit smaller, or the ears are slightly larger, or the face is rounder than what. But you are able to identify that the three bodies that you have here, as well as R.T. Rockland, are all in your binder as missing people.
Right. Okay. Well, that's interesting. They're all missing. Well, I guess not quite missing. Well, you know what I mean. They've all been on posters.
That's concerning because if this young one here, that one went missing previously, and then they were saying that a hooded figure jumped out and killed his parents. So someone's sending people to kill the people that they know.
Does seem to be the way. Amun, did you recognize the one that attacked you? Have we covered that already? Is my brain?
I did not. Just an elf.
But that was the case with Rion. And
Well, I don't think Mask was sent here to kill me. I mean, I don't think anyone really knew I was going to be here.
Yes, so a bit of information that I should have given you before that I completely forgot to give you is that these people are all wearing mixed match parts of armor, and they have the symbol for the dead rats on them. The thing that sort of stands out to you is these people are not were-rats.
Do you think that maybe this is because what was his name? Din, the dead rat outside, might have also... this might all be connected because he also said that they'd lost... Horatio said they'd lost area, an underground layer to some force, so maybe they have taken all their armor and wearing it for their own troopers. This mind-controlled army, as it were.
Possible.
Perhaps.
I can ask Artie. Is Artie also wearing the dead rat's armor?
He is, yeah.
And was Mask also?
From the brief glimpse you would have got of what she was wearing with all of her bullshit rogue flipping around, yes.
Well, through all of this conversation, Ak would have been pulling out incense and been sort of wafting it around Artie in preparation for Speak with Dead.
Okay, so you cast Speak with Dead, and you watch as Artie's form begins to move. I was going to say like a deep breath, but it's not like that. He just, his eyes open, completely glazed over white, and he sits up forward. You can see that rigor mortis is sitting proper with him now, so it's very crick-crack and creaky and bone-breaking sort of thing, but sits up and looks at you.
Ak doesn't seem to be bothered by this at all. This is completely normal.
Greetings, Sir Artie. My name is Ak. We have met before. We assisted your parents with your brother when he passed.
Just stares at you.
I was wondering, could you tell me what happened to your face with these blue marks?
What blue marks?
Interesting. Before you came to the theatre, where did you come from?
I've never been to the theatre before. I hear it's nice.
Yes, it is quite lovely. Where did you get your armor from with the dead rat symbol on it?
I don't own any armor with dead rat's armor symbol on it. I don't even own any armor.
Interesting. Bear with just a moment.
We'll turn to everyone else.
He seems very confused. I will be careful not to word this like a question. If anyone has any suggestions of other questions they might like to ask, please do suggest now.
We should. You go.
I was just going to say ask. Oh, sorry. I was just going to say ask him what the last thing he remembers is.
The last thing that I remember was walking through the streets of Blue Lake, going back to my parents' house because I'd just been accepted into the Neverwinter Academy on a scholarship. And I walked through an alleyway and then some hooded figures approached me. And then I remember music. And that was it.
Could you describe the music in more detail?
It was very soothing and it made me feel calm. And
Not as much
he
detail. Like stupid Artie.
lays back down.
Well, I suppose that was some help at least. The victims have no idea what happened to them. They're very confused. But the music is a large lead, I suppose.
The vampires use music?
Well, I would like to say that Artie was captured in the Blue Lake district. We found these blue figures in the Protector's Enclave district. How far away is that?
The Protector Enclave district is to the south. It's in the southern part of Neverwinter. It is also where the temple to Ogmar is. Or the House of Knowledge, as it's known.
Perhaps we ought to speak to the dead rats about the territory that was stolen from them.
see if it might be somewhere on the way between where Artie was coming from and his parents' house.
This was a week ago as well, so lots of time for things to happen.
It occurs to me as well that we probably want to. We've got one of these folk with the blue and the arm, injector thing. We probably want to see if it's possible to try and take it off them without killing them. Because, I mean, if we're looking for Rion's friend, then
Yeah.
it would be good. It would be good to have a practice at getting rid of it.
There is also some young adults who work at this place who are also under a similar spell. Mrs. Zana can vouch for their charmedness.
Very ass scratchy. Disgusting.
Oh,
Did they have
Sugar.
those things on their arms as well? No.
No.
They seem to be under some sort of compulsion to follow each other. I mean, you just wait. Look, watch this. Hey, everybody, stand up.
You can't see them, but you would assume they've stood up.
Oh, can we not see them from here?
No, you've come into like the main atrium area.
Then I want to have shouted.
Okay, it's fair. You do, however, hear a commotion coming from the area where those employees are, and you can hear a muffled argument between the guards, because you would have heard them speak before, and some other figures that are trying to enter the building. With a passive perception of over 15, you would hear one of them say your name.
Oh yes, I was supposed to secure the pass for the rest of the Ogmar Temple folks to come and collect the bodies. Do excuse me, everyone. I will be right back, and we'll shuffle towards the door to sort it out.
As you shuffle towards the door, you can see that these guards are trying to block two other clerics of Ogmar from entering. These two clerics are, one's a human and one is a dwarf. They are trying to push past, and as soon as they see you walk through the doors, you can instantly see that there is a look of terror on their faces, and they're like, Ack, have you seen Dr. Whipplestitch? Have you seen them? They never returned to the temple.
She was in the tavern with us, the checks notes. Sleeping Dragon Tavern, not too long ago.
She sent us a message to say that she was returning back and that we were to come up here to help, to aid you. But we haven't been able to find her. We went looking for her, and we came across her pendant, and picks up a pendant that you would have given her, outside one of the alleyways near the tavern. But she's gone. And that's where we're going to end. Yes. So that is where we are going to end tonight's session. Thank you everyone for joining us for tonight's show. If you enjoyed tonight, we play every Monday and Tuesday from 6 p.m. BST, because it's currently British Standard Time, 10 a.m. PST, and you can also, that's on Mondays and Tuesdays, and you can also join us on Fridays for our chat shows, Talk Together, and Talking is a Free Action, again, from 6 p.m. BST or 10 a.m. PST. All of our shows are streamed at twitch.tv/RollTogetherRPG, and you can find all of our content archived at youtube.com/RollTogetherRPG. There are also podcast versions of all our shows available everywhere. Just go on one and search Roll Together RPG and you will find it. We'd also like to say a massive thank you to the D20 Club on Patreon. Their link will appear in the chat on this side of me, I believe, in a moment. I'm going to do the heart symbol as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can join them. Every penny helps and will helps us make this content that you can see right now. Also, another big thank you to all of our sponsors and supporters. And don't forget, we are also on all of the social medias as Roll Together RPG. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon. Bye.
Thank you.
And you.